Hello everyone, I'm Extra Cheesy 87 and this is Let's Play Ace Attorney Miles Edgeworth Edition, whatever it's called. Investigations? Is that it? Because we investigate things? Last time we were talking to Chickadee, whose name, I don't know. I'm gonna be honest, it's been a few days. Oh, sorry, I meant to keep talking to you. How doth one talk? Alright, speaking of forgetful, I don't remember who Mr. Portsman is. It was around 12, it's been like 4 days since I recorded the last video, but we should be more consistently recording from here on. I'll probably be able to record at least like a video or two a day for the next like week or so, which will be nice. Well, close to a video a day. On average, a video a day. Mr. Portsman had forgotten his office key, so he came down to security, sir. And that's when you loaned the master key to him? Oh yeah, Ports, he's the dude bro guy. No way, it's against regulation to loan the master key out to anyone. I walked with Mr. Portsman to his office and opened the door for him personally, sir. I see. And then, what happened after that? Well, he called me to come close up his office as he was leaving to go home. That was around 1:30 a.m., I think? So in summary, for the sake of one forgetful prosecutor, you used the master key twice tonight. There's a very narrow window then, that she wouldn't have had it, right? Because it said it came back at 2? Well, I'm not getting the extra evidence here. Can I no, that's just that. I think I remember they said it was back by like 2:30 or something though. Talk about suspicious. I doubt you can say that you never left your keys at home, detective. I don't have a home. I'd really appreciate you not rubbing it in. I'm pretty sensitive about that. I think this calls for a thorough examination of Mr. Portsman's door. Alright. Where doth he live? Do you want to do some b-ball? Mr. Gumshoe, why is there a basketball goal in the prosecutor's office? I mean, I guess because they're like cool prosecutors. They're not your average everyday prosecutors. We're fucking wacky here in Lost Tokyo or whatever. What is a basketball doing here? That's Mr. Portsman's prized possession, sir. I already also play soccer, dodgeball, and even tennis. Even tennis? And not a single one of those sports is suitable to be played in a hallway. I mean, you could play tennis off the wall at least. In soccer, I mean, yeah, I suppose. Just think of it as it's a very narrow pitch. What is a basketball hoop doing here? I'm surprised their ceilings are that tall. Well, I guess courtrooms, well, some of them are kind of tall. Hey, didn't this used to be just outside next to the building a long time ago? So when and why was it moved indoors? I don't remember exactly, but I saw one of the officers drag it up here recently. Drag it? I heard it wouldn't fit in the elevator, so the poor guy had to bring it himself. Now I think about it, I'm pretty sure that poor guy was me. All the way up the 12th floor? Is everything alright? Wife took the kids, but other than that, I suppose it's okay. The dark call of the abyss hasn't completely won over yet, Mr. Edgeworth. Thanks for asking. Sir, if you must know, I weighed myself this morning and I'm finally at 154 pounds. Congratulations. Didn't you used to be 130? Just a couple weeks ago? As previously stated, the wife took the kids. I was asking about this hallway in this room. Oh, I haven't weighed the room, sir. A word of advice. Stay focused or you may start to lose even more weight. It looks like you're in quite the pinch, Mr. Edgeworth. Be sure, murder within the walls of the prosecutor's office is no trifling matter. We must find, apprehend, and punish the killer accordingly, post-haste. Sounds like a messy case you've got on your hands. If you ever feel lost and need some advice, my door is always open. How gracious. I will keep your offer in mind. Who is this guy again? That's Mr. Loose Case. He's famous for his ability to lose case. I do not know where this man's office is. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Damn true, partner. What about this b-ball hoop? It's Mr. Portman's personal basketball hoop. I can't believe you put something like this in the hallway of a prosecutor's office. You know, it's actually pretty useful, sir. I haven't gotten lost trying to get to your office since it's been here. How long have I had the same office, and yet you still managed to get lost? The door is locked tight. Bet the old credit card trick wouldn't work here, Mr. Edgeworth. I would hope not. I'd hope the doors are made of sturdier stuff. Or the lock mechanism, you know what I mean. This is the office of a high prosecutor, detective. These doors would be pretty ineffective if the average cat burglar could get through them. Ah! So I guess only a great cat burglar can get in. That must be who our culprit is. Might I advise you to return that conclusion to whatever pawn shop you brought it from? Room 1203. I take it that this is Mr. Portsman's office? Yep, can't mistake it because of that basketball hoop. That reminds me, Mr. Portsman actually wanted room 1202 really badly, but since you are already occupying it, Mr. Edge, is this person committed all these crimes just to get the room? That's the plot twist? Calling it now, locked in. You are already occupied. We put him next door, sir. Why was Mr. Portsman so particular about getting room 1202? Not sure, but I bet it's because of something like his birthday is December 2nd. That's gotta be it. I can't think of another reason why. Well, I can think of at least 3. Well, I'm not even wasting time thinking about this. A minimalist yet classy door made of top quality wood. It's kind of majestic too. Fits in really well with the ambiance of the prosecutor's offices. Even Mr. Portsman seems dignified just because he works behind one of these. Nonsense. A man doesn't become more or less dignified because of where he works. Well, I mean, he seems more dignified than Mr. Payne. Mr. Payne? I suppose custodial work can also be dignified. Get his ass. Is there anything else to click on? There does not seem to be, but they didn't tell me to stop clicking, which makes me feel like I'm missing something. Because usually when you've clicked on all that can be clicked on, they'll be like, you've clicked with the best of them. There's nothing of interest here, yeah? Say the same about your romantic life, Edgeworth. Haha! I do not know what to do now. Oh, what about this couch cushion? Could it have committed the murder? I won't rest until I suspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Well, well, well. It's the book. Oh! Isn't this that missing O series file, sir? It's so weird. I don't know why my mouse is so tiny on the second screen. Maybe it's because of the monitor resolution, because, you know, my main monitor is a higher resolution than my second monitor. But it's like the cursor is looks so tiny when I'm looking at the preview screen. I mean, it's not exactly super big on my monitor, but it looks bigger. That's what they all say, though. Isn't that right? No doubt about it. The bloody letters mark it clear as day. There seems to be a few pages missing. Our thief took only what was necessary and left the rest behind. I mean, kind of weird. He just kind of threw it in the damn hallway still. Seems kind of fucking stupid if you ask me. Right, Mr. Edgeworth? So, what are these zero files about, sir? My 0th case. I'm trying to get them to greenlight my sequel, Edgeworth Case Zero, but hasn't yet happened. I guess I got something worth stealing in them, huh? Not particularly, just a collection of court case files. However, the cases within these files are not mine. Huh? They belong to the High Prosecutor that used to occupy my current office. I have my reasons, but let's just say I was charged with keeping them as they were. That means the thief must have also wanted the file for a specific reason, right? It would seem so. Only the pages related to that case from 10 years ago are missing. Wonder why anyone would care about such an old case. A well-crafted, high-quality sofa for visitors. The stitching is excellent. Talk about luxury waiting here. These babies are also great for napping, you know. You would sleep even out here, Detective? In a hallway? Better than noodle stand, honestly. Whatever I do, I always wind up dreaming about giving testimony up on the stand. It always ends the same way. Me getting trounced by a lawyer. Isn't that awful? Maybe I should give it a try sometime. To envision myself winning, naturally. I bet the thief's not under here. I guess there ain't enough space for him to hide under here anyway. I mean, if somebody could contort themselves to fit, I'd be really impressed. Sounds to me like somebody's already tried these ones before. Okay, think we're good. I don't know what to do. You got anything new to say? No? Okay, fine. Fuck me. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. 1202. These four numbers on a number plate alone proclaim this to be my office. Whoops! Hey, these number plates slide right out, sir. They have to be able to take the plate off when a room becomes vacant, you know. Presumably that'll be important. Although the idea that it can be so easily removed is I clicked it through by accident. I'm sorry. It's history to... yeah, okay, it's the log. Although the idea that it can be so easily removed is kind of... yeah, either... you know, the person who was killed was tricked into going into Edgeworth's office by, like, the number plates were changed around or something like that. Or they thought they were in a different office. Presumably that'll be important. I don't see any signs of forced entry. And according to the guard, no signs of that lock was picked either, sir. Meaning that the door really was opened with a key. Did you happen to ask if any prints were listed from the doorknob? Apparently the doorknob's clean as a whistle. Wiped, they think. Whoever this thief is, they did a good job of not leaving any clues behind. I mean, it sounds like they did basically the basic things you need to do. To, like, wipe the things that you touched. A minimalist yet classy door made of top quality wood. It's sturdily made, making it near impossible to break in by force. It's almost majestic, sir. Wish I could be as stately as this door. Only Gumshoe would praise a door as something greater than himself. Being a detective has its own rewards and a certain virtuous value, I think. If you live up to your full potential, that's a poignant trait that anyone can admire. I see, so you're saying that me being me is the best thing I can do for everyone? Be more than yourself, is what I meant. That sounds hard, sir. That long pause wasn't exactly reassuring, sir. Who else is up getting they click on? Okay. Oh, I guess we need to do the logic puzzle thing. Well, I mean, I guess the obvious one is the two keys. I don't really know, like... I feel like that shouldn't need connecting, but... Miss Bird, I'm afraid there's a flaw in your story. Yeah, there's a flaw in your story. Hey, what's the flaw? No way, pal! I mean, sir! You said you locked up Mr. Portsman's office at around 1:30 a.m., correct? However, the master key had already been stolen at that time. Oh, had it? Wow, nothing gets by you, Mr. Edgeworth. You saw that contradiction like a pro. I'd totally forgotten all about that, but thanks to you, I remember it now. You're right, it was on that very time I realized the master key was missing because it was in my pocket. Haha. Well, that leads dead. And? I'm a security guard, sir. I couldn't just admit to losing the master key, could I? So I pretended to lock up his room, sir. You pretended? Yeah, used my house key and made it look like I was locking up, sir. So in actuality, you never did relock the door then? Well, I thought that maybe I could go lock it after I found the key. Now to think of it, I guess the door still hasn't been locked properly. Okay. Can I go in? No? Door's locked tight, but it's not locked tight. It's not locked tight. Oh, wait. Go back. Apparently I can deduce on his ass. Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold? That it's not locked? I don't know. I didn't... You know, it's not locked? It's not locked? Eureka! There's a contradiction between reality and the evidence. Oh, so it actually... Okay, so the door is locked. It's not that they just think it's locked. If what Mrs. Bird has said is true, then why is the door locked tight? Huh! You know, you're right. Actually, no, that's my friend. Miss Bird, are you sure you didn't relock this door? I'm certain of it, sir. And I don't think Mr. Portsman noticed it himself that I hadn't. Which means... What, sir? It either means he actually does have the key to his office, or the door Mrs. Bird opened wasn't this one at all, but a completely different one. Yeah. So, you open a different door? How can you prove that? Well, I don't know if we can prove it, but we have a reason to believe it. Or, like, as a possibility. There's an easy way to find out. All we need to do is... examine these. The number plate. The prints on the number plate that will tell us all we need to know. Everything? Really? Like what, sir? What? Like, well, what do you mean? Why isn't that right? When oversure, Detective Gumshoe's dinner will only consist of instant noodles. Whoa, that was amazing, sir. How'd you know? Why is that wrong? Because we could check if the number plates have been changed. Did it say nameplates or number plates? No, it said number plates. Why is that wrong? That's it. Now then we should get back to doing what we need to do, and that is... Well, we already did the doorknob, so I guess the master key? We examined the fingerprints on the master key. Well, that's what you want to examine, sir? That was the very first thing. Yeah, that's... I can tell you, we didn't find any prints other than Maggie's. Well, we already know they checked the doorknob. We already did that. I guess this doorknob? Okay, I'll tell you, that means the culprit wiped their prints off? I still feel like it's the number plate. Whatever. The prints on the doorknob will tell us everything. Yeah, you pal, do us a favor and see what you can lift from this, okay? So what'd you find out? There's no need for such belligerent nostril flailing, Detective. I found only Mr. Portsman's and Mr. Face prints on the doorknob. But like... that doesn't mean anything. It could have been wiped and we've been touching the doorknob this whole time. You know? Only 2 people's prints were found on this, huh? That's pretty decisive. I'm lost, sir. Thinking logically, a certain other person's print should be on this knob as well. Now then, whose print should also be on this doorknob? Okay, now don't insult my ass.
Take that!
Don't you find it odd I still think it should be the number plates. Man, I find it odd the prints of the person who unlocked the door are absent. You mean... Yes, the door that Mrs. Bird opened could not have been this one. What have we here? I'm saying, if they ever check for prints on the number plates, I'm gonna fucking lose it. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious looking nook and cranny. Yeah, you said that, partner. Is this basketball property of Mr. Portsman? Yep, yes sir, he's always ready for a match. Basketball, soccer, dodgeball, tennis, doesn't really matter what sport it is, he's game. Think it'd be a little hard to play tennis with this ball. Ho. That isn't the point you should be focusing on, detective. You're right, sir. Now I know what I should be focusing on. Bad Mr. Portsman. Somebody should teach him to clean up his toys after he's done playing. I think we've reached the end of this conversation. What's this? What are you looking at, sir? Oh, hey, how about a game? That's okay, detective. I just found the position of this hoop to be a little off. You're right, sir. I guess it shifted when someone made a seriously sweet slam dunk. That seems unlikely. The positioning of the hoop is definitely unnatural. I better take note of this. Signs it's been moved. What is this? Looks like a scrap of paper. I'll get it, sir. Let's see. Oh, there's something written on it. Huh. It looks like a note from the victim. I bought 3 pieces of evidence behind just like we talked about on the phone, but it looks like you're out. Yeah, and it's from Mr. Portsman. Investigation complete. Fuck you. Don't talk to me. Poking around in this hallway has actually paid off quite handsomely. Huh? How so, sir? In a variety of different ways. I think it's time we had a little chat with the real culprit of this case. You know who the killer is? Wow, Mr. Edgeworth. As long as my logic is sound, then yes. The mastermind behind this murder is none other than Mr. Portsman. What? Mr. Portsman? He's not even called like Evil Kill McMurder Guy. How could you know he's the murderer? I knew it. That's exactly what my logic senses were telling me too. I suspect it was him from the instant he accused Maggie of being the killer, sir. And also we saw that intro cutscene. You guys see that, man? That was kind of crazy. Only Mr. Gumshoe got to see it? Guess that's what they call my clairvoyant powers. That is anything but logical. Lady and gentlemen, prepare yourselves. Come with me, it's time to knock on Truth's door. Yeah, Truth's door. The High Prosecutor's Office, room 1202. Mr. Portsman, finished processing the bloody letter, sir. Alright, let me take a gander at it. Pass it here. Just chunking crucial evidence. Okay, looking good. You there, take care of this. Brah! Well, isn't Detective Gumshoe? And a line for you, Portsman. We got you now. Call up your dog, Mr. Edgeworth. Is this some kind of joke? It's no joke. We know, Mr. Jacques Portman, that you are the guilty party in this case. You must be pretty upset getting chased out of your own room. I'd be mad too. Mad enough to kill. I mean, I would never hurt a fly, a soul, anyone important or nothing. So I guess you can stay if you promise to stay out of our way. You intend to hide your crime under the guise of a prosecutor doing his job? And I can see right through the unsightly paper-thin mask you wear upon your cowl. Who'd ever thought it would come to this? Actually, come to think of it, your mentor is Manfred von Karma, right? The legendary prosecutor who never lost a single case for 40 long years. There's always this incessant chatter about forged evidence with that guy. Is it chatter at this point? Isn't it kind of like, yeah, that's he did that shit? Really teaches me that I gotta stay on the lookout for false accusations, you know? Are you done trying to play mind games with me? Because they won't work. The only thing you should be using that mouth of yours for now is explaining yourself. Although that too will only dig your hole deeper. Either way, your game is up. Whereas mine is just beginning. I have 3 to 4 more cases probably. More are we full of ourselves, even though you've yet to prove anything. I got no idea what sort of harebrained idea you got in mind, but there's a mountain of evidence that points away from me being the culprit. Besides, how may I ask you, do you propose I unlocked the door and got in here? Look, I feel bad doing this to you, but I got work to do, so we're done here. Sorry, but we are not finished yet. Boy, you're stubborn. Suppose you're basing your accusations on something else? I'll show you what I'm basing my accusation on. With evidence. So, I mean, I get it. He moves the basketball thing to make her think that Edgeworth's office is his office. And she's unable to relock the door because the key's stolen. I mean, I get that's the trick, is you move the basketball hoop to his office, and so she thinks that she's at Portsman's office when actually she's unlocking Edgeworth's office. Okay. But I guess we have to try not to jump ahead. Well, we should just press from the start. For the content. My accusation is a harebrained idea, is it? You tell me, I'd say it is. After all, I'm the one with the sweet hair. It's a mountain of evidence that points away from me being the culprit. Oh, and what, pray tell, kind of evidence are we talking about here? Jim was my partner, so you can't say I had a motive for killing him. Even if he was an asshole who I hated. I mean, we bonded in classic buddy cop fashion. And that's it? That's not even an anthill, let alone a mountain. It's more than enough, wouldn't you agree? Might I recommend you review what the word evidence means? And also, statistically, you're likely to be murdered by the people you know, making you the prime suspect. It doesn't change the fact that evidence doesn't point to me as the killer. Okay, unlocked your door and got here.
Hold it!
Unfortunately, I believe I've already shown how earlier. Yeah, your speculations mean nothing, but I still insist that I could not gain access to your room. What should I do now? Should I raise an objection? I don't really know what to present. Because, like, I know the big picture, but I don't know the small picture. Like, in what order I'm supposed to present this. Did we ever look at this? Anything to click on? No? Okay. So, I mean, I guess the office door is really the only thing that fits. Because the line would definitely be office door, something, something, basketball hoop. But let's press the other statement first. I need to gather a bit more information. What's wrong? Don't tell me all you wanted to do was find fault with my flawless logic. And then we'll press this, and then we'll circle back around. I don't think so. And why's that? Because there's a flaw in your reasoning. Are you calling me a liar? So, where's your proof? The saying evidence is everything isn't limited to the courtroom. Also, what did you originally say in this statement? I feel bad doing to you, but wait. I feel bad doing this to you, but I've got work to do, so we're done here? Something really to press there. You need not remind me. I'll show you all the evidence you want in time. Okay, so...
Hold it!
Okay, get objected on. You claim to have had no way to open my door. However, is that really the honest truth? Or we do the key first. I'll humor you. Go ahead, shoot. Very well, then I propose that you use this to open my door. Okay, so we'll say the key.
Take that!
So it's probably key, door, then basketball case. I believe you're able to open my office door with the master key, no less.
Objection!
I don't have a way to prove that he had it, per se. Well, hold on a sec. I never laid a finger on that key, as you already know. Precisely. You're able to open my door without lifting a single finger. Okay, so that's how we're going to transition to the door. Maybe you did, but only to direct. That's right. You used your finger to direct this person to open my door with the key.
Take that!
You had asked Miss Bird to open your own office door for you, yes. Yeah, kinda forgot my key at home. Happens a bit too often for my taste, you know? So, if we're saying he never had the key, why did it get lost? Because whether or not she relocked the door doesn't really matter, right? Because the main thing is just tricking her into unlocking the wrong door so you can get in. Whether she has the key available to relock the door, it seems kind of like a who cares. Unless, I guess you need it, maybe if you needed it still unlocked to make dude think that he's in your office? But, like, I don't really know why you would need to do that. Happens a bit too often for my taste, you know? But the room you had Miss Bird open at that time was not your own, was it? What? You have quite the imagination. Why don't we ask the girl herself whose door she opened, shall we? I'm certain it was Mr. Portsman's door, sir. I checked the number plate to make sure it was opening the right door, sir. See, Miss Bird backs up my story. And what you had misled her to fool her into thinking was what you wanted. And if we check the damn number plate for fingerprints, you fucks. How do you suppose I did that? By switching the number plates on our doors, for example. That's right, I'm on this side of the room now. They do slide out pretty easily. Furthermore, you then used one other thing to give a very strong impression. That the door she was opening was yours and not in fact mine. What was it that Mr. Portsman used to make Miss Bird think this was his room? Yeah, the basketball hoop, sir. It's quite the peculiar fixture in any hallway, let alone a hallway in this building. Which is why it left an unusually strong impression on you. It's an object perfectly suited to sit just outside the office of a peculiar prosecutor. That's very true, sir. I'm on this side of the room again. There was a basketball hoop sitting there. I thought the door I was opening had to be Mr. Portsman's. There are signs that the hoop has been moved. To sit in front of my office, to be sure. Yeah, I see. So that's how you throw suspicion on people. Thanks to the tip. I think your conjecture's a little off the racetrack. Conjecture's rebuttal. Yeah, you just spat nonsense. I had the girl open my office door. After that, I was in my room the entire time. You don't got a single reason to suspect me. He intends to claim his innocence to the end, does he? I'm as pure and innocent as my jacket. And Miss Bird is as dirty and guilty as the jacket she wears, which is not cool. Yeah, my jacket's not dirty, like you know, I just washed it yesterday. Please calm down, for I intend to show who is the one truly covered in slime here. Get pressed.
Hold it!
Nonsense, you say? Yeah, 'cause I'm telling the truth. Okay, fuck, he got me. I didn't know you could do that. You could just be like, actually, I'm telling the truth. Fuck! Oh, my carefully laid plans. They've been thrown asunder.
Hold it!
Using the master key, of course. Sure, you got a problem with that? That is what the master key's for, right? Perhaps we should place it in an elaborate labyrinth of some sort for people like you. Okay, in my room the entire time. What did the note say? I don't remember. I just want to read it. Looks like you're out. Now, we don't necessarily know when this note was put there, but presumably that we'll press the two statements, but...
Hold it!
And what were you doing in your office? I can't say. This game is rated, presumably PG. Doing my usual training regimen. Training regimen? Were you going through law books from start to finish? Mainly batting practice and some weights. Oh, and I jog when I get the chance. Wow, you must be the buffest prosecutor we have. With the weakest legal muscles, it would seem. I was doing my usual workout, so, you don't got a single reason to suspect.
Hold it!
I think I've given you quite a few reasons.
Objection!
None of those would stand on their own.
Objection!
What if I say they do? Then what about all the evidence?
Objection!
It's all circumstantial. No judge to convince him that, oh no, he doesn't know what game he's in. He seems to be trembling a little. Circumstantial evidence is all we need, brother. No, I wanted to present.
Objection!
That was a lie. What are you talking about? How is that a lie? This is a note the victim left for you, Mr. Portsman. A note? It was left under your door, or did you not notice? And right here it says, but you're out. That shit ain't got a date on it, man. That could be from years ago. I'm very, very dirty. You were not in your room when the victim came to call on you. So then, where were you and what were you doing? Shall I explain it in full detail for you? You were busy snooping around in my room, the very room you had Miss Bird open for you. That's just nonsense. You got no evidence I made the girl open your door for me. Oh, but I do. I have very decisive evidence. No way! This is proof positive that you had Miss Bird open the door for you. Is it door time?
Take that!
I had your door dusted for prints. My door? What for? Hey, that rhymed. Maybe I could be a prosecutor, poet, rapper, basketball player with some tennis on the side. Now, come on, I bet you didn't find anything. You're sure good at wasting time. You're right, I didn't find anything, and definitely not Miss Bird's fingerprints. She was wearing gloves that day. Probably. Get fucked. You can't prove she wasn't wearing gloves. Her prints, what do they got to do with anything? Let's put it this way, if she really was the one who opened your door, then her print should naturally be on the doorknob she touched. That. Further, all the prints on my office doorknob have been wiped clean off. I can only assume it's because Miss Bird's fingerprints were on it. You think it's time you gave up your charade? We know you stole into my office with the intent of stealing something from me. And Detective Faith found you out. Possibly because he heard sounds coming from a room whose occupant was on leave. Mr. Portsman, you killed Mr. Faith to silence him. And I had the misfortune to return. When I did, you had to threaten me as you escaped. As I said when you had the gun to my back, no one gets away with committing murder in my office. I'm laughing at you. Hey, what's so funny, pal? Other than this delicious video that you're watching. Oh, well, that's the look of stiff seriousness on the face of the office's finest prosecutor, as he makes a huge mistake in accusing me of simply too much to bear. There's just nothing else like it in the world. What? Mr. Edwards just explained it all and even backed it up. You're the murderer. Stop trying to be slippery and just admit to the crime already. She doesn't know what game she's in. And as I said earlier, it's also circumstantial, so full of conjecture. You say you checked my doorknob for prints? Well, I can readily confess that I had wiped that door down well. I'm a little obsessive compulsive, you see. I didn't want to touch a doorknob that you had touched, which is why I wiped the knob down as soon as I could after you opened the door. Oh, you fool. How can you use the same evidence? After that, it makes perfect sense that only Jim Mahone's fingerprints would be on there. Well, I mean, wouldn't Jim be... he wouldn't have come back by then? You just made that up now, didn't you? Furthermore, as for the note Jim left for me, do you know exactly when that was? For all we know, he could have left it there before I arrived at the office. Like early evening, for example. Are you saying you failed to notice a note in your doorway? Even geniuses fail at times. I was probably too preoccupied by work-related matters, although that's no excuse. That's just a flat-out lie. There's no way you didn't notice a note that size. Did you guys notice it when you first looked? Did you? But you can't prove that, can you? Say something, Mr. Edgeworth. Back me up here, sir. Ugh. Portsmouth makes a good point. I can't prove you didn't simply overlook it. Your Honor, my client is innocent by way of being a dumbass. I have an airtight alibi. Airtight, you say? I only just realized I have one as we were talking, and I was making it up in my head. I guess it would have been better for all of us if I told you sooner. This is my alibi. If memory serves, you came back to the office at around 2 a.m., correct? It was then that you had that unfortunate confrontation at gunpoint with the culprit. But exactly that time, I was down in criminal affairs. Ask around, I'm sure the other detectives will corroborate my story. It's the perfect alibi. They're gonna be like, Mr. Portsman, who the fuck is that? We don't know this guy. Do you really think it's that perfect? Like I said, I don't care. Ask around all you like. You'll see for yourself. Detective Gumshoe. Sir, yes, sir. I'll go check out his alibi, sir. Be right back, sir. Mr. Edgeworth, sir, I think we're in trouble. They backed him up, sir. The guy down in criminal affairs said they saw him at around 2 a.m. Well, define around 2 a.m. It's a very narrow window. I mean, we got back, what, at 2:05? I said it was, yeah, 2:05? I would consider 2:07 to be around 2 o'clock. All the evidence points to him being the culprit. There must be a contradictory point in his alibi somewhere. Get pressed.
Hold it!
You are correct, it was around 2 a.m. Yeah, are you sure? It's really important to me that you're spot on with the time. I remember checking my watch then and make no mistake, it was 2. Giving testimony like a pro. Okay, so you came back to your office at 2. And it was then that you had that unfortunate confrontation at gunpoint.
Hold it!
It is as you say, however. Yeah, however, you were the only one who claims to have bumped into the culprit. So tell me, did you see the person's face? Was it me who you saw? I know you wouldn't forget this mug. It was pitch black, so I couldn't actually see. Yeah, come on now, I'm sure you saw something. Try a little harder, why don't you? I'm beginning to feel like I am the one being interrogated here. Well, it doesn't really matter if you remember or not. It only matters that you ran into the culprit. Exactly that time I was down in criminal affairs. You paid the criminal affairs department a visit? Yep, right after I left the prosecutor's building, headed straight for the precinct. Okay, nothing's jumping out at me. I'll have to look at the evidence again. Well, we did go and ask around to confirm your testimony. You know, it was just as I said, right? Yes, sir. A number of detectives said they saw you at around that time. I got the perfect alibi. That's the ace I have up my sleeve. Impossible. He actually does have the perfect alibi. What's wrong? Why the sudden sullen look on your face? Can't you say anything back, Mr. Edgeworth? Please don't tell me Edgeworth has lost his edge. I think we reached the end of the line. It's time to get off this crazy train. Okay, so it's like a... There wasn't anything to find. I didn't feel like there was anything. Because the only thing I was thinking of is that, like, just the narrowly defined around 2 a.m. Like, as long as he's there by, like, 2:06. You know? It's not that airtight an alibi. Unless you could prove that he was there, like, right exactly at 2. Escort the young lady out, but remember, be gentle. Maggie! Detective Gumshoe! Is there nothing I can do? There must be a way to turn the situation around. This is when Wright would use some fucking bullshit supernatural nonsense and freaking win the case. Wish I could do that. If only I had a clue. Did I miss something that can help me cast doubt on his alibi? Shooter I met could not have been Portsman. I need to calmly think this through one more time, and with logic. Okay. Alibi, another handgun. Presumably it's the thing we just got with one of these two, so 50-50 shot. This is the closest thing to saying... there was some other person? There were 2 bullets after the scene of the crime. One that robbed Mr. Faith of his life, and one that nearly robbed me of my jacket. However, the murder weapon only shows signs of being fired once, meaning it's entirely possible the second gun was used in my office tonight. But seeing as how the killer had to steal Mr. Faith's gun, I doubt the killer had another gun up their sleeve. Therefore, the second gun could have been the property of an entirely different person, which could mean there was another person who paid a visit to my office tonight. Okay, maybe the victim and his killer weren't the only visitors to my office tonight. Okay, so 2 people came to fuck with your office in the exact same time span? That's kind of crazy, brother. Honestly, I was like half expecting it to be like, even though there's only 2 things to connect. Supposing there was yet another visitor tonight. That would also resolve the issue of why my shelves were appended twice. We know the shelves were disturbed once before and once after the murder, so it shouldn't be much of a stretch to think that it was the work of 2 different people. One by the person who stole the victim's gun and then killed him with it. And once again after the murder by a second culprit. Who was the owner of the second gun? If we suppose the second culprit's gun was the one that was pointed at my back.
Objection!
Mr. Portsman, it seems I need to amend my assumptions regarding this case. Great, so you finally come to your senses. I believe you are a super murderer. Ah, shit. Mr. Edgeworth? Sir, what are you saying? This has been a big misunderstanding on my part from the start. I had assumed that the person I ran into was the killer, but that may not be the case. What do you mean? The person I ran into was just your average thief. A thief? But, sir, doesn't that cause some sort of contradiction in the facts? Not at all. It simply means the killer was someone else. And it means that in actuality, 2 culprits stole into my office tonight. So basically we're trying to say the dude was killed earlier. I don't really know how we're going to prove that, but... What do you mean 2? It explains why both my shelves were disturbed twice and how there were 2 guns. Mr. Portsman tricked Miss Bird and gained entry into my office. So he used the master key trick, and then at the same time somebody else stole the master key to get in? Seems kind of silly. There's like 2 different people doing this at the same time, but... Now you're just leading the argument. You still don't have any actual proof, you know? If you could please go along with my hypothetical scenario for now, Mr. Portsman. In the end, if you really are innocent, you should have nothing to worry about. Nah. That's my I'm mad noise. Now then, returning to my scenario, Mr. Portsman was out to steal something from me. Which is why he checked my secret safe and ransacked my shelves. This is the first time. So then, this will be on the files are put back in the wrong order, right? Correct. And then, just when he was about to look somewhere else, who should walk in but his own partner, Mr. Faith? Why Mr. Faith come into your room, sir? He probably had business with Mr. Portsman, which is why he was in the area. That's when he noticed sounds coming from my office, would be my guess. Oh, because you were supposed to be away, right? And he must have thought it was odd, so he came into the office to check it out. Correct. And as a detective, that was the right thing to do. As a person who wanted to be alive, though, misplay. When he came in, he found his own partner standing there. Because it was Mr. Portsman, Mr. Faith probably let his guard down. Mr. Portsman was not so merciful as to let him leave alive. He waited for a chance and stole Mr. Faith's gun from him, and then bang! You think Edgeworth made a noise? You think he made the gun sound effect with his mouth? He killed them. He silenced Mr. Faith for catching him in the act of stealing. Seems slightly excessive. Like, not just for moral reasons, but like, I don't know, man. It seems kind of like a weird escalation to go from like, hey, oh no, I've been caught stealing, so now I'm gonna commit a murder. Because, I mean, you probably could have... I mean, dude's a cop at the end of the day. You probably could have convinced him that you being shady was for the greater good or whatever. This is the moment in which the first shot was fired, the one that landed in my files. Following that, Mr. Portsman wiped the gun down and left it behind as he made his exit. He could afford to do that because he had also left a fake dying message behind. You're such a complicated troublemaker, you know that? If things were as simple as that, then all would be solved. However, there was yet another visitor to my room, and this is where it gets complicated. I guess maybe, I mean... idea I have in my head is that dude knew someone was going to steal the files, so he wanted to steal them first? And I just don't really know why they would be interested in the Karma files. Or, what, is his name Von Karma? Von Carnage? Von Badman? There was another? Visitor, sir? Yes, and this other person's objective was to steal something from me. Now then, even after Mr. Portsman left, the door to my office remained unlocked. Well, actually... so Portsman didn't steal anything from the files, though, right? It would have been the thief who stole the files. So Portsman was stealing something else. Because if he had sold the files, it wouldn't have been there for him to, well, I mean, like, you know, the writing the blood on them. You wouldn't write blood and then, like, leave, I guess? I mean, maybe you would. It just seems kind of strange. You feel like you would write it somewhere else if you're, like, if you knew it was going to kind of obscure your message. However, this new visitor had no way of knowing that, and so They stole the master key from the security guard's room, and then entered my room and searched through my shelves. This was the second time they were disturbed, and it seems the thief found their prize. They stole the old file, right, sir? Correct. Only just as the thief was about to leave with the file, I appeared. The thief then threatened me with their own gun and made their escape. The second bullet was fired during that brief encounter. So the shelves getting messed up twice and the 2 bullets, it was all because 2 different people were doing 2 things at 2 different times. Precisely. So now do you see, Mr. Portsman? The person I met was just a thief and not, in fact, Mr. Face Killer. Now, though, the time frame in which I ran into the person is now irrelevant, because we now know the murder took place during the first culprit's visit.
Objection!
I object on the grounds of that shit makes me sound like I did it. What's so funny, pal? Other than this delicious video. Absolutely splendid. Your scenario explains everything. Of course it does. Mr. Edgeworth, after all. But you know, still doesn't change the fact that it's all circumstantial. Supposing if, and that's a big if, your theory is right, it would indeed render my alibi, which has withstood scrutiny, mind you, irrelevant. But there's still one defining point of your argument for which you have no evidence. We just need circumstantial evidence to get you charged, and then as long as you're charged with the crime, they're gonna find you guilty. Because if they don't find you guilty, then it'll mess up the clearance rates. So it doesn't really matter if you did the shit or not. It matters about the clearance rates, sir. We just need the circumstantial to get the charge. You know? As long as we can convince them that maybe you did it, then we don't even need to convince them you did it. Because the fact that you're charged with the crime means you did it. You know? Your supposition was that I was the first visitor. Grrr, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm mad. Grrr. You can't get away with that, sir. But he has a point. I have absolutely no proof at this point. Don't say that, sir. One thing I will say, that I'm kind of liking about the game's setup, since it being more like informal conversations, like it's same basic gameplay mechanics and everything, but you're not actually in the courtroom, is it does make it like a little, it gets rid of that kind of weird dissonance of like, there's no way this shit would fly in the courtroom like scenario at all. And actually having him bring up that everything we do is just circumstantial bullshit is kind of funny. I don't believe this. Don't worry, Maggie. I'll do something if I must. You know something, I find your attitude to be somewhat peculiar, Mr. Edgeworth. If the person you met really was the plain old thief, then why is that person not your main suspect? That is, if your theory is correct. Portsman's Alibi Part 2. That thief you ran into should be your real suspect, wouldn't you say? We should be out there looking for that thief right now. They might still be nearby. I hate to repeat myself, but as I've already said, I was training in my room. And when Jimbo came to deliver some evidence to me, I was down at Criminal Affairs. I can't be expected to know what happened around here after I left. So you think we should be out there looking for the thief? Of course, now's the time to be having these dead-end discussions. I don't think it's at all dead-ended, and find her alibi to be fascinating. Let's continue where we left off, shall we? I know he's lying. I know he was here at the scene of the crime. I just have to find a way to prove it. This is probably where we should call it. We'll go for a little bit longer, just because I only have time to record the one video. So we'll do one longer video instead of doing like a video and a half separately. The thief you ran into should be your real suspect, wouldn't you say? Actually, no, I wouldn't. I wish you would. That's elementary. The dying message, of course. Mr. Face Killer very clearly left those letters on the spines of those files. And it was after they were on there the thief stole one of them. You mean the 0 files, right? And that's how we all knew the letters themselves were a setup and not for Mr. Faith. If the thief was the killer, do you think they would try to undermine themselves? I mean, maybe the killer just didn't think of that either. I mean, you know, they killed somebody. They're probably not that smart. That must be it. I mean, maybe, just maybe, we should be out there looking for that thief.
Hold it!
One escaped. Once escaped, I highly doubt any thief had lingered nearby. Well, I mean, you never know. They say something about returning to the scene of the crime. That's what murderers always do. They come right back to the scene of the crime, always. Some say they might even be at the scene of the crime currently. Maybe they didn't get what they were really after. You talk, you know quite a bit about this thief. I mean, it's nothing like that. I got no idea about anything after all. I hate to repeat myself, but I've already said I was training. According to Mr. Faith's note. Hold on, thought we already cleared that up. I'm a dumbass. Didn't we say that Jimbo left a note for me in the early evening? If you got proof that he left it at a different time, say, just before he was murdered. I don't have any, no. See, I insist again that I was in my office the entire time.
Hold it!
Why didn't you go there with Jim, Mr. Faith? Ah, that's because he said he was tired and was gonna take a quick nap in his own blood. You know, those sofas in the hallway, he likes to sleep on those. It's one of his habits. And what of the evidence he brought? There were things related to yesterday's case. Just 2 items, a gun and a pendant. 2 items? You fool. You fool. You stupid idiot. This piece of testimony seems too crucial to let slip through the cracks. I mean, do I just go for it? Or, well, let's press the wait first. No, oops, go back. For the content we'll press, but... A gun and a pendant. Yeah, this gun, which was the murder weapon. And this pendant, which belonged to the victim. And why were you taking them to criminal affairs? Also, isn't it his gun? I guess we don't know that it was his gun, we're just assuming it's his gun. There was something in a past case file I wanted to compare these two to. All this has got nothing to do with the case right now. Anyway, I believe you'll find the long paper trail left to be your satisfaction. This is all matching up with Detective Gumshoe found out. Okay. Get noted.
Objection!
Only 2 pieces? I believe the proper phrase here is, you fail. Excuse me? You fail as a prosecutor, Mr. Portsman, as you intend to keep evidence hidden from me. What are you talking about? I haven't hidden anything from you. And here's a piece I think you should read carefully. It says Mr. Faith was bringing 3 pieces. Yes, and this is the victim's real dying message to you, Mr. Portsman. I can't believe it. To get tripped up by a simple arithmetic. Where is the missing piece of evidence? It's... You have it, don't you? Only the guilty would make such a face. That's circumstantial. You can't use that against me. Also like the... This whole thing's going on with these 2 guys just kind of standing there. Which one do you think's operating the boombox for him? It's probably, because, you know, it's got to be under the desk, near the chairs that he would be closest. So it's definitely forensics guy is taking his cues. You don't have to say it, sir. I'll pat the guy down from head to toe. I love patting him down. Don't come any closer. I'm warning you. Yeah, this is all part of the investigation, pal, so don't even think about stopping me. Drop them pants, sir, or else. No! Hey, what's this? That's my... He had this on him, sir. Betamax. Damn, I didn't even know they still made these. Despite what you said, it would appear... whoops, my bad. Ah, I'm trying to click on history. Despite what you said would appear you have something to hide. Wow, he had something like that. There's only one reason why anyone would hide evidence of this caliber. I mean, that could just be like his... for personal use. We don't know what's on that tape. Because it would unequivocally point to that person himself as the real killer. I mean, I'm gonna be real with y'all. That's just my personal VHS. It's got some fucked up shit on it you don't want to watch, but it's nothing related to any crimes. It's all perfectly legal between consenting adults, okay? Well, I can't show it to you on screen because, once again, as mentioned, we're PG around here, but let's examine this videotape in a little more detail. For the section of the tape that will drive the last nail into his coffin. Oh, by God. That's blood, isn't it? Well, I can't tell at a glance. Better lick it, just to see. Yes, and I believe this is what the good prosecutor was trying to hide from us. This blood is still fresh. You mean this might be Detective Face blood? No, you've got it all wrong. No amount of denial can save you. We have but to run a blood test to find the truth. Well, on the plus side, at least when you patted me down, you didn't find out that I had this gun! Bang, 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 bang! He's got 5 shots left. There's 5 people in the room. I mean, if you committed 1 murder, you may as well fucking commit to the bit, man. You just told us you had received evidence from the victim earlier. Now, I guess actually we have the gun right now on us, so we could shoot him 5 times. Well, I tried to give you an out, sir, but... You will tell us when and how did the victim's blood find its way into this video? Yeah, it's totally suspicious. Was it at the moment of his death? Did Detective Faith have this videotape on his personage when you killed him? You know very well there's no way to prove that. Not even if we were to examine this tape for fingerprints? Yeah! If I had to take a guess, I'd say the only ones on here would belong to the murderous you and Mr. Faith. Also, you can't be doing this cut-in with this. I mean, nothing against this track, but it is not dramatic cut-in music track. You gotta have a higher BPM. Especially, it's the first dramatic fucking air whooshy cut-in, and you're playing just the standard background music. We need a dedicated boombox operator, because these bush leaguers, they don't know what to do. We need a side Edgeworth. You need a sidekick. Sidekick, you got to get a sidekick immediately. Yeah, I'm impossible. March 14th, 5:47 a.m. High Prosecutor's Office, room 1202. Mr. Portsman has been executed, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, placed under arrest to go under a real trial later on, where he will be found guilty, probably. Very good. And the results we got back from the lab techs on the tape turned out to be real solid, sir. The blood work came back and it was definitely Mr. Face's blood on there. And as a bonus, they were able to lift a few of Mr. Face's fingerprints as well. Thank you very much, Mr. Edgeworth. I guess you can... I mean, somebody needs to be our sidekick. I mean, I guess Gumshoe's our sidekick, but... I don't know if I trust him with the boombox. It's a very fine machine. It's got all kinds of buttons. 8 tracks on that sumbitch. I still can't believe I got to see your cool deduction skills outside the courtroom. I'm impressed beyond words, sir. It was nothing. I'm just sorry you got caught up in a murder in my office. Please accept my apologies. It was nothing, really, compared to what I've been through, I mean. I consider myself lucky it was only a burglary and a murder this time, sir. If it had been a hold-up or a hostage situation, I'd have thrown my hands in the air. I think I'm finally rising up from goddess of misfortune to just an unlucky person. Something tells me we should have hired a different person for security detail. You know something, sir? That Mr. Portsman really was one corrupt prosecutor. And why would you say he was corrupt? Well, I mean, I heard there were a number of suspicious things related to his court cases. There's even rumors about some of the evidence he uses as forged, sir. Forged evidence, huh? And they even decided not to prosecute a few cases for some really vague reasons. That guy was a complete disgrace to the entire profession. We never get around to asking what his reason was for breaking into my office. Yeah, whenever we got near that topic, he just clammed up. I love clams. Gosh, I wish I could have some clams, but unfortunately, just whatever they got in the garbage bin behind the noodle stand for old Gumshoe tonight. Although we can be pretty certain it was to steal something. It's just between you and me, sir, but there's a rumor some sort of huge organization's involved behind the scenes. Oh? Well, well. With Mr. Portsman not willing to divulge anything, it certainly reads credence to that rumor. It would seem we haven't heard the last of this. Mr. Portsman isn't a bad guy. Well, no, he is. I didn't say that, but rather that there are still many more mysteries for us to solve. Potentially, probably 3 to 4, I would guess. For example, we still haven't figured out the significance to this piece of evidence. No, not that.
Take that!
The person who stole this file, the other villain of the night? Villain of the night? You mean like Dracula, sir? What happened to the stolen pages? I wonder, who in the world was it that held me up at gunpoint? Because also, I mean, you know, if we think about it, the fact that he murdered that one guy just for seeing him, you would think you would just shoot Edgeworth as well. You know, if you're that willing to just kill somebody. You may, I mean, like, in for a penny, in for a pound, as they say. Yes? I came across this while I was processing your office earlier, sir. This card! God. What, is that like a bird or something? It's not just any bird. It's the mark of the raven. A 3-legged raven. Oh man, we love that persona. Friggin' cool crow guy. You should know what this is, detective. Oh, it's about that thing, isn't it? Dang old great thief everyone's talking about. Yes, it's the mark of the great thief Yatagarasu. Under the mark of a legendary bird, the Yatagarasu is noble to the end, a modern Robin Hood. Labeled mysterious and phantom-like, the Yatagarasu appears and vanishes at will. Though we don't know much about this thief's ultimate goal, we do know the targets. The Yatagarasu likes to find and make public evidence of corrupt dealings of all sorts. The theft is always performed in silence, and always with perfection. Once a target is chosen, no dramatic calling card or announcement is sent forth. Instead, the chosen corporation is infiltrated without even the target noticing. Some days later, the evidence that was found is sent out to the mass media, along with this single card. Although it has been a while since the Yatagarasu's last appearance. Hey, Mr. Edgeworth, maybe you can make them your sidekick, because I really don't know how to work this thing, man. Buttons only got labels on it. It's got these weird symbols, and I don't know what they mean. Is there like a manual or anything, Mr. Edgeworth? Let me see. It's the location where the thief put the stolen files. Is it? And the person who stole the contents of the file was the Yatagarasu? Yatagarasu. Organization. Quite a few key words are popping up in this mystery. A murder in my office. The return of the great thief. Looking back, I can't say I didn't see these events coming. for they were heralded by the incidents that began to occur 2 days ago. That's a really good tutorial case. Now, I don't remember the other tutorial cases from the previous games that well at the top of my head, but this one might be my favorite. I'm trying to remember. You have the one with Buddy Guy in the first game, which that one's pretty good. Then you have the thing with like dude's like left-handed or some shit. I vaguely remember that one. I do not remember the opening cases for the third game or the Apollo one. But no, I really like that one. I have basically no issues with any of the questions. I mean, the number plate one, I feel like that should have been something. I mean, they used it at least, but I feel like the idea of maybe you wouldn't think to wipe the nameplates for prints. So if he's got his own fingerprints on the nameplates, that's kind of sus, but I do get why they went for the doorknob. So yeah, no real complaints on the gameplay side of things. I do like that it's different than the other games with it not actually being in the courtroom. And I think it kind of makes some of the weird Ace Attorney logic more palatable because it is just Edgeworth like basically just shooting the shit and trying to get people to crack, as opposed to like we're trying to convince a court of law with our wacky shenanigans. So I am really interested in seeing how the rest of the game goes. I'm having quite a fun time with the game, and we'll see how it keeps up from here. I'm Extra Cheesy 87. Stay tuned for the next part. And bye, guys.